so good to see you. You do me great honor with you being here. I'm very, very excited to teach to you. It's an honor to get to serve at this level. And I'm glad that you all showed up out there. Glad that you all showed up. And I'm going to have to smell Aphrodite's flower.
Oh, I got another one for you to
So, before class started, welcome. I'm going to be teaching about shrine etiquette and giving offerings. I myself just gave an offering to the vessel of Aphrodite because Aphrodite loves roses, right?
got another one for you to
The first thing we'll talk about is knowing your subject. Before class started, I'm going to be teaching about shrine etiquette and giving offerings. I myself just gave an offering to Aphrodite because Aphrodite doesn't care about roses or most
got another one.
That's a different story. So that's knowing the subject. Class started. So I'm going to be teaching about shrine etiquette and giving offerings. I myself.
And she likes it very much.
That's inside. Because roses or most
Got another one. And she likes it very much.
Okay, so who are you? Tell me about you. You became your dad. You became your dad. Why are they going to tell you all about this? You love nothing. You shouldn't go to the goddess of love, or the goddess of agriculture, or the god of children, and just say, who are you? Tell me about you. Okay, so you have a cool number. One thing about you, you're a builder. You have tools. I would go to the god of building and ask for a blessing. This is a good chance to interact with you and also react and problem. You can have +1 tool, or you can ask them to tell you about it. I personally would want to come from my tool that I want +7 tools. And I have a modifier when I try to do something. Sounds logic. That's right. Min-max it. Min-max your time. Not everybody gets to go through the blessings from them like that. So the minute that you leave your house, really from the minute that you decide that you're coming to Pickle, coming to Spring Mystery, coming to an event where you're going to see the deity, you step on the path. What are you going to do? Min-max it. When you travel, we say blessings and pray and ask for prayers. So the minute you pray and ask for blessings, you're going to from the minute you decide that you're coming to the other point, the church that we're taking to God's event. Was it you going to honor Bella and I will often and then just step all the way out of it. Roses in front of us when we left for Mary Lane from our Aphrodite. The first time we're having the pink Cadillac across the country, constantly brought a bunch of roses. I and strewn a bunch of them out on the road. We drove out and they were all there. And then just step all the way up and we left the whole thing to Aphrodite. An amazing spot for where we have to start. So, what guys do you want? So you're coming to Spring Mystery Festival, you're coming to Cafe Circle.
Hey, I have a technical difficulty. Give me just a moment. I don't know what this noise is.
So, what's brown and sticky? A stick. A stick, that's right. Why couldn't the blind man
Okay.
see the well?
Because he was blind.
Because he can't see well.
Oh.
Why?
Okay.
What's orange and sounds like a parrot?
What's that?
A carrot.
A carrot?
All right, and good.
How's it going? Welcome back. So, what God are you going to see? You're coming to Spring Mysteries Festival. You're coming to Hecate Sickle. You know, mosses, glacier water. And there's different things that you could do with those. I bring my gardening tools to bless them so that I can work better with them. I bring seeds. I give to Gaia to plant. Or ask her to bless them so that I can. You guys already know your life. They know what you're doing. You know that they've paid attention. Some people are like, oh yeah, Sobek's with me all the time. Athena's with me all the time. Now, shock lightning, he doesn't know me at all, right? So he pays attention to me very little.
That's when you go and meet them.
Well, it would depend on what God you were going to, I said earlier. So if you're going to go see what would be good to take forward?
Mead.
Mead is good.
Goat jerky.
Goat jerky. Yeah.
Throwaway thing, or is this something that they're going to and if you don't have something that they're going to treasure, money amount is the easiest and most appreciated because we have a lot of things that the gods already have, but dresses and jewelry and clothes.
You do something that is of a quality that the gods go, oh my goodness, I'm wearing this for the wall. You'll see what you gave on stage. But don't let that deter you from wanting to, again, I'm going to we literally have 2 tubs, nothing but owls for Athena because people love to give Athena owls. And we have even said, you know, maybe we could do an auction and get rid of some of these owls, turn into money, maybe get some for the other gods, and she will not have it. So don't think that giving Athena a small owl will offend. You know, if you know what a god likes, you may see it put on their shrine next year. They might literally go, oh my goodness, and put it on their shrine right then. Right? So put forth thought. You don't want to, also, extreme gifts such as walking up and cutting all of your hair off and throwing it on the thing can be jarring for the priest or priestess that is holding the deity. So if you're going to do that kind of an offering, you should do that before you get there. Go somewhere, cut your hair, donate the hair to wigs for children, and then come and say, Goddess, I cut my hair before I got here, and I donated it. I want to start anew, you know, whatever reason someone might cut their hair. Usually when I cut all my hair off, it's because I'm like, I need a reboot. Boot. Grow it out, get new stuff. So if you're going to do something extreme like that, if you're going to decide that you're divorcing your husband, bringing like all the rings and yelling at the deity about doing it in that moment, probably the way to do it. But processing your stuff, asking for help, releasing, that kind of thing. Because we've seen people give their rings, be like, I don't want to be married anymore. And that can be, even with the best intentions, can be jarring for the deity that's seeing it. So find a way to present things that, people sometimes give things that they want to get rid of, even though it's attached to something beautiful, like a diamond ring, right? They're thinking, well, the god can use this diamond ring as on their altar or whatever, because it meant a lot to you and it's expensive and important. But what are you actually giving to the deity? You're asking them to process. So you don't have to make a big statement like that to give something. You can ask for help taking something away. You should probably give something in return, but the deities are there to help. There was something else that you, when Temple of Hester was talking about the Patreon, and the small amounts of money from everywhere makes a lot of money, and makes a big difference. So, you have to think about ratios of money to money given to what you earn, right? That's the reason one of the reasons they use the term 10%, because it doesn't say you have to give $1,000. Because if you have to give $1,000, all of these make an expression that they know is going to be accepted because they didn't meet up to the expectation. So if I give $1 out of the $200 a month that I make, that is a larger percentage than $1 out of someone who made $2,000 a week, right? So when you know in your heart that you're giving something that is generous from your table, that God's no too, okay? You don't ever have to worry about that.
Offering should not be
Correct.
should be joyfully given.
That's right. But you should be like, yes, I'm so excited that I get to give this because I'm being spiritually fed. I'm excited to feed that.
It's a sacrifice, though. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
true.
you should give it in joy, but true sacrifices are not something that is easy to give away. I gave a rose wand one time, and it was, I mean, it's a stick. It was 3 feet long, and it was rose wood from a rose that had grown up and created this perfectly straight stick. It was hard for me to give that away because I'd never seen one like it before, and I've never seen one like it since. So giving that away was a unique piece of magical tool that I pulled out of my garden, and it wasn't easy. But it was, I was happy to do it. I felt like it was going to the right place. So it's definitely a sacrifice.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, but it should not cause you to not have food. Like, you shouldn't sacrifice to where you can't pay your rent,
Right.
Yes, exactly.
right? It's a seed you sow, not a bill you owe.
That's right. Okay, so let's talk about shrine etiquette now that we've talked about what to give. Let's talk about when you go into a shrine. So, you are in the God's house in that moment. You are a guest in their home. So, you want to be reverent as you would be in anyone else's home. Also, you do not want to reach out and touch the deity. If you make it clear that the deity can touch you, and the deity puts their hands on your shoulder, or the deity touches you, then that is appropriate to your comfort level, obviously. But don't molest the priest and priestess and the god. There are often times where they're put together in such a way that if you start pulling on them and touching on them, their clothes will fall apart. Things will fall off. Their hymations will fall off. Their helmet will fall to the side. If you just bum rush Athena and she's wearing her helmet on her head with it leaned back, well, first off, I don't think you'll get close enough because she'll go full defensive position and you'll be on the ground, spear tipping.
I have a spear.
I have a spear.
But that helmet's gonna fall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. It's if you rush toward Hephaestus, and as has happened in the past, he has a legitimate forge set up that is hot, and he's doing things, you might hurt yourself or him, right? So you want to be respectful. You do not want to put your hands on the deities. You don't want to expect them to drink or eat anything that you bring to them. If you do say, I'm giving you this bread, and no, I'm not taking it with me, the deity will almost assuredly put it on the altar, bless it, say thank you, but it won't get eaten later. It'll end up going into a ritual fire, which is okay, but that's what will happen to it, just so you know. It does go to the gods, as we were told by Prometheus to put our offerings upon the pyre for the deities. Additionally, you don't want to touch anything on the altars. You don't want to assume anything while you're in there. If you go into Hermes' altar, you very well may find yourself in a maze covered with dice on the ground. That's happened before. And then you just have to figure out what you're doing in there. You're like, where are you? And then you hear giggling, and you just find your way to you sitting in the center like, So, know who you're going to. You may be tested while you're there. We've had Dionysus shrines at underworld events where if you made it into Dionysus's area, his whole deal was to make you think there wasn't anything else going on. And
Because there are some gods who are just gonna
really reach out to
Yeah,
you in it.
and that's enthusiastic consent. But if you put your arm and they don't, that's not consent, right? If you put your lips on somebody, if you rub up, enthusiastic consent is they're gonna lean out for it. They're gonna be, they're good, not saying no is not enthusiastic consent. Okay, not saying no. It you want to get a verbal or a physical yes. That's enthusiastic consent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, absolutely. So, respect the deity and the vessel that the deity is in. Does anyone have any questions about that? About etiquette when you're in the church? Okay. Also, do not always ask before you take a picture. Some rituals straight up won't let you do it. Some will. Some events will let you do it, and a specific deity will not. So just make sure you can say, "May I take a picture?" And they'll go, "No," or "Yes," and then say, "I very much appreciate that," and do what you do, and then, you know. Also remember that other people are coming in behind you. So you don't want to tell the 3-year-long story of what took you to being in front of the deity unless you can do an elevator pitch of it, right?
Gods are not therapists.
That's right. The gods are not therapists. They're just not. So, anything else? Sometimes the gods will give you something to do in return for their blessing. I know when I held Hermes, he had me tell people that everyone had a crossroads in their hometown that's dangerous that they can think of. And to, next time you drive through it, to bless it in his name to make it safe. And if you can sneak out and build a secret little altar at the crossroads, do that too. So, and then people came back the next year and told the next Hermes about it and what had happened and how fatalities had gone down and all kinds of things. It was cool. So they may ask you to do something as well. And if you can't do it, you should say, "I don't think I can do that." Right? Or you say, "Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you." And move on. But if there are no more questions, if there are, please ask them now. Then I thank you for being here, and I thank you for listening to me rattle on up here about offerings and etiquette for shrines and how to go to ritual in a sacred way from the time you wake up until the time that you come home from it. And may you be able to live your life in ritual and beauty. So,
Yay! Honey Bear!